Welcome back to part 4 of my interview with Bret Chapman, who is our digital discipleship pastor. He is exploring a new environment for ministry, and we're talking about digital spaces. And we know that God is always at work, even in places that we might not expect, like the digital space. So, Bret, in your experience, how have you seen him move in the digital space?
When I started participating in the gaming space, it was 1999. There was a game known as Ghost Recon. I participated in, it was a cooperative experience, a military action experience. It was not against other people, it was just against the video game itself. And a lot of people will choose a gamer tag that identifies some of their heart in relation to kind of who they are. And I chose Chaplain because I think that way back even then, as someone who is pastorally inclined, I wanted to be seen in a way that identified my heart, my passion to kind of who I am and what I'm bringing to the space. And so I've been Chaplain, I've been OG Chaplain, I've had a bunch of different variations of it. But I think that the most fascinating thing is watching what God is doing in other people's life to then all of a sudden connect to you, to then build a relationship that I have some relationships that have lasted since I began, but then I've had relationships that start and stop and restart and stop, and some I haven't talked to in ever again. And it's that singular moment. And I was playing League of Legends, and League of Legends doesn't have a voice chat, so it's just typing. Somebody saw my name and said, "Are you an actual chaplain?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he says, "So am I."
Oh, wow.
And he says, "I just got off deployment. I'm still on the boat in San Diego, and I'm about to land." And he was playing League of Legends with me. And we ended up having but like 6 months. We had 7 or 8 different times we connected on Discord, as I mentioned in the previous video. But that the idea that he just needed encouragement that he was doing a good thing, that video games weren't bad, but that his work in ministry was so critical and important. And he was then bringing that, similar to myself, over into that. I had another gentleman who was a Lutheran minister, and he went by Padre. And so him and I had a quick relationship, which was a lot of fun to see how people are then using these ideas of who we are and how we are then watching God move. I think that we've talked in a bunch of different ways about culture and society, and there is currently a vacuum of God's presence. That there is I refer to when I do some teaching out of the book of Ephesians, the fivefold depravity of humanity. And it's the areas where God hasn't been allowed to exist fully in people's life. And the passage is in Ephesians chapter 2, and it's such a powerful moment to know that God is always reaching people, and that the moment, and I want to make sure we're hitting this like out of the park. The moment that you like a video, the moment that you make a friendly comment, the moment that you have that, you're partnering and participating in what God is doing in that person's life, even if you don't get the opportunity to see what that result is, but that God is doing something in every person's space. And I joke about this, and statistically, it takes about somewhere between 10 and 11 opportunities of a healthy Christian experience for someone to accept Jesus as Lord and Savior, join a community, and become a sharing Christian. And I joke about it. I say, "Are you okay being number 7? Are you okay being absolutely consistently obedient to the moment that you're in with God and never knowing what that outcome is?" Maybe you were there and you pruned a branch. Maybe you were there and you planted a different seed for somebody. Maybe you helped harvest. But I think that how we step back from being God in non-Christian lives and participating with God in the non-Christian experience is a really powerful moment.
it resonates even with what we would call traditional ministry, in-person ministry, and the way we interact with people on the day-to-day, face-to-face. You never know if that friendly comment that you said to
Mm,
somebody is going to help them or plant that seed, and you may never know that result of that.
hmm
So it's very similar in the digital world as it is in the physical. You've been in this ministry for a very long time. You've mentioned that you were fueled by a sense of calling from God to really
hmm
dive into this space, and it truly is something that's personal and meaningful for you, especially since you mentioned it was started because of your son.
hmm
So how is God leading you in this work? Have you had any specific visions or passions that drive your ministry?
I shared a post just before Christmas in regards to retail workers in the Christmas season and how stressful it can be, and how, on the edge emotionally everybody in society is during that really, really busy, stressful season. And
Mm.
somebody was saying that a single smile to somebody who's working in retail can reduce stress by up to 100x of what
Wow.
they're experiencing. And it's literally a momentary expression where a smile and a thank you means the world.
Hmm.
In our gaming culture, there is so much negativity and toxicity that there is such hateful vitriol that pours out of broken people. It's undaunted. Like, there's nothing that can prevent that when you're in this stress moment where you're playing a video game or you're participating in something, and it doesn't go the way you wanted it to go.
Mm.
And so then, your character is eliminated, or you don't get the win that you really needed to get to rank up, or I mean, there's lots of different scenarios that unpack in this moment. And I think that the idea of, like, my passion that I bring is I just want to be a difference maker. I want to be somebody who is the smile that everybody needs. Um, I, I I am a weirdo. Okay, so I'll just say straight up, I've got a lot of weird tendencies, and one, I love Costco. I love Costco so much that I will go to Costco to buy like 2 or 3 things, but I will go 3 or 4 times a week to Costco. I'm weird, I told you. And but yet every single time I go, I learn somebody's name new. I'm looking for somebody who's wearing a name tag, and I call them out. I was there on Saturday, and one of the cart catcher guys, his name is JP, and I've interacted with him a whole bunch of times. He does not know who I am. He does not know my name. He probably doesn't even recognize my face. He sees so many faces at Costco. And he was bringing the carts in, and I said, "JP, you doing okay?" And he looked at me so confused, like, "How do you know my name?" But he's really easy to recognize. And he says, "Yes, I'm doing okay. But the weather, it's cold and it's hot. It's cold and it's hot. It's weird right now." And I said, "You got this." And I walked away. And it's like this moment
Right.
to moment is being the change for somebody's experience. And I don't know if JP in his last cart catch almost got hit by a car, or somebody honked him because they were mad at him, or he was like, there could have been any scenario that was happening in his life, and my momentary action just was enough to make
Mm.
him pause and pivot from the negative experience to a positive experience. And that happens in gaming all the time. I have to admit, I'm not a good gamer. I'm not a skilled gamer. But what I do have is energy. What I do have is excitement and passion. Now, I've gotten better over the years, but I'm still a pretty horrible player. In a lot of cases, people just need to know they're doing okay. And being called out for being okay is, yeah, is something that is part of my passion. And it's kind of where I bring that digital moment into real life and real connections.
That's great. That's like It's like you truly come alongside somebody for a brief moment and just
Mhm.
pat their back and say, "You're doing okay," and you move on. Being on the receiving end of some of those moments, that smile from somebody, it truly does make a difference in somebody's day. I can 100% agree with that. So thank you for sharing about that. We're going to take a break and we'll be back for part 5.